Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my talk on how doctors worldwide built the Postgraduate Fellowship in Migrant and Refugee Health. My name is Dr. Mir Saduddin Ahmed, and I'm currently Doctors Worldwide's Program Director for Bangladesh. As you can see from the title, I hope to guide you through my journey with Doctors Worldwide through this presentation. As a matter of fact, a suitable subtitle would be How to Take a Fresh-Faced NHS Doctor and Work Him in the Field. For us, the story starts when the stars aligned in a Royal College of Emergency Medicine study day. With the college exploring the interest of emergency medicine in the SARC region, I was invited as an executive member of the Bangladesh Society of Emergency Medicine to talk about developing this specialty in Bangladesh. As fate would have it, Dr. Najib Rahman was invited as the William Rutherford International Award recipient to talk about the good work he was doing with Doctors Worldwide. After both of our talks, we made a beeline for each other as he was looking at developing a response to the Rohingya crisis in Bangladesh. Najib had recently returned from a fact-finding mission to Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh, soon after the first wave of the Rohingya migrants had arrived. This aerial shot shows only a sector of one of the camps in the region. 4 or 5 such sectors make up one camp, and there are about 20 such camps. So, there is no doubt that this is the largest migrant camp in the world. At the outset of the crisis, over 1 million people were displaced. Over the last 6 years, this number is likely to have doubled. Nonetheless, Bangladesh stood in a very capable position with its familiarity with NGOs and INGOs. This allowed for a structured response to the crisis on the ground. Another key factor for the subsequent PGF was the fact that Bangladesh was producing a large amount of medical practitioners every year who were keen to get involved in the crisis. The bottom line, however, was that these doctors were inexperienced from a clinical, administrative, and humanitarian point of view. They were sent to serve a destitute population, and despite the best of intentions, the resources at hand were poor. Now, the knee-jerk response to many a medical disaster is to parachute in doctors. Although on the face of it, it may seem that this would provide some high-quality care, it becomes impractical once the sustainability of effort is questioned. Furthermore, a lack of familiarity with socio-economic cultures and customs invariably leads to inappropriate care. And then there is the unintended economic impact on the host community. As a matter of fact, Doctors Worldwide have published a post on its website explaining why medical volunteers should not deploy in the beginning of a crisis. So as Najib explained Doctors Worldwide's rationale, I understood that the PGF was designed to be both a system strengthening and sustainability project, prioritizing on the local doctors, not only for this crisis, but for any subsequent crises as well. February 2018 heralded the arrival of the pilot team, where we looked into the different modalities of learning that could be employed for the PGF, the partners on the ground, and the curriculum to be taught. Now, I find many parallels with how we develop the PGF curriculum with standard emergency medicine curricula. Even though emergency medicine is a relatively new specialty, the management of each individual emergency has been well established in the parent specialty. We just adopt and adapt all the emergencies together to make a curriculum of emergencies. Similarly, for the PGF, we adopted and adapted from the existing humanitarian literature. Our end result was initially these 7 modules that we developed in 2017. Reassuringly, when SPHERE came out with their essential healthcare for humanitarian emergencies in 2018, we overlapped quite well. We were also delivering a wider range of topics on humanitarian principles and professionalism and communication with the latest edition of Leadership and Governance. A detailed insight into the development of the PGF can be found in this article authored by Professor Kema Hanna and myself, but I'll share the salient points. The PGF was run as a 13-week program in which we eventually trained 5 groups of 25 doctors over its 8 modules. The doctors were spread out across space and time in the camp, but we managed to develop a cohesive community of practice between all cohort participants, core Doctors Worldwide faculty, and volunteer mentors who would be deployed to guide and train the participants. The PGF modules were further broken down into units, which were delivered in either a modular or themed approach. An example of a PGF cohort is displayed here in the modular format, with interspersed mentorship days and the final assessment. As alluded to previously, the PGF was delivered with a variety of modalities of learning. This slide displays the PGF cone of learning and the rationale of why we trialed the different techniques during this pilot. Although these modalities may seem no more than ordinary in the context of a developed healthcare system, the current modalities that the local doctors were familiar with were either conventional didactic teaching or a practical skills lab with disproportionate mentor-to-trainee ratios. We cautiously started, as is evident with my expression here, with didactic lectures and a pre-course assessment. We then moved on to procedural skills, simulation, trauma training, focus group discussions, surveys and feedback, life support, role, and my personal favourite, the tabletop exercise. Our diverse group of mentors provided on-site clinical supervision, and this was supported with a logbook of assessments. The PGF culminated in a final assessment day where there was a board-style viva based on clinical scenarios and a written post-course assessment. Written assessments were in two parts, a 100-question SBA as well as a written assignment. The single best answers were kept simple and spread across all modules, while the assignment was focused on a piece of personal reflective work on their experience in healthcare. As part of the final assessment, they were also signed off on basic life support skills. This is a sample clinical scenario case taken for the viva. Following each cohort, meal exercises were conducted and reported on, and the impact of the PGF was reviewed in 2021 after the final cohort. The impact is clearly self-explanatory. And the impact did not stop here. A review of participants showed very good career progression in the humanitarian sector. Now, we definitely are not saying this is all down to the PGF conducted by doctors worldwide, but we will say that the participants have definitely used the PGF by DWW as a postnomial with MBBS to great effect in subsequent job interviews. With the PGF currently concluded in Cox's Bazar, the question is, in which direction do we head? There are ongoing talks of extending the PGF in northeastern Bangladesh after a series of major floods, as well as replicating the process in the refugee camps of Kenya in East Africa. With university accreditation, we are looking at converting the certificate course into a diploma course and possibly a degree course. This option also opens up multiple offshoot projects that can honestly lead anywhere. Our 10-year plan for the PGF also looks at developing nursing and medical assistant cohorts in these settings. In summary, the PGF was simple in plan, flexible in style, effective in cost, but heavy in impact. That heaviness in impact was definitely felt by this now heavily weathered field doctor. Thank you very much.